Everybody, welcome to another edition of Vegas Unveiled. It is Sports Week here on Vegas Unveiled. You know it, you love it, and we're bringing it to you. Now, we have a live edition, even though the show is recorded, because why? We don't rehearse or edit major parts of the show. You get what you get. Basically, you see it as it happens. Now, as I mentioned, this week is Sports Week, where we're going to talk about all things Las Vegas sports from our great pro teams, all the marquee events that happen here. I'm Aaron Phillips. I'm also known as The Voice, and I am your host.
People from all over the world flock to Las Vegas, approximately 3.5 million visitors every month. With just over 2 million residents, that means that any given day, Las Vegas is home to as many visitors as residents. And with so many great experiences available, it can be overwhelming to plan a visit. Vegas Unveiled was created to introduce to you entertainers, personalities, and business people who make Las Vegas the entertainment capital of the world. So you can learn about everything we have available and be ready for your next visit. Join us for your virtual Las Vegas adventure, Vegas Unveiled Live Edition.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Vegas Unveiled. As I told you before, my name is Aaron Phillips. I'm a broadcaster, I'm a podcaster, you name it, I'm all over there. Wherever there's a mic, I love to be there. As I always like to say, let my voice speak to you. That's what I'm saying right here, right now. That's right. Hey, on today's episode, we got a lot of good stuff going on. I'm excited because I get to hang out with one of my favorite combat sports people to cover the latest news. That's right. And learn a little bit about his training for his current first heavyweight MMA fight and why his wife provides a unique insight in supporting his dreams. That's right. We'll talk to Trap Gambino here in a moment. We also have a special guest that Trap and I will try to talk to. At least I will, if Trap's a little busy kind of duking it out with somebody there in the octagon. Okay? We're going to be talking with MMA fighter, stuntman, and actor Mr. Anthony Top Gun. We'll get his background and learn a little bit about his career as well. Then, I'm taking these guys into the octagon myself to see who really knows what's going on in combat sports. When it's trivia time, you won't want to miss that big throwdown, that's for sure. But first, as always, I want to send a big welcome to our audience around the country. And today, we're giving a big shout out to the YTA viewers and, that's right, fellow Yankee fans like me currently watching on WVVH in Hamptons in New York. Now, folks out there, hope you're making the most of your summer because, believe it or not, there's only 45 days left of this summer. No matter what's happening, it's still summer everywhere, right? You got it. All right. Back, we're going to talk to Anthony Top Gun about what he's been doing as a stuntman, as an MMA fighter, you name it. Coming back. Vegas Unveiled, Sports Week. Aaron Phillips will be back right after this break. Hey everybody, welcome back to Vegas Unveiled. I'm so excited. It's Sports Week here on Vegas Unveiled. I am Aaron Phillips, the voice here in Vegas. I get the opportunity to host this special week of Sports Week. All the stuff that's going on, movers and shakers and teams and everything going on here in Las Vegas, all regarding sports. Now it is time for me to introduce our special guest on today's show. Listen, this guy is an MMA fighter. He is a stuntman. He is an actor. Of course, you'll see why, because he's got good looks. MMA's been good to him, so he loves doing the acting. Okay? Stuntman is the stuff I'm going to be interested in wanting to hearing about because I have trouble tying my shoes without falling over. And hearing about a stuntman doing their thing, it's got to be some wild stories. So without any further ado, please welcome to tonight's show, Anthony Top Gun. How are you, sir?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
We're doing very well. Thank you for taking some time. Now, how did you get the name Top Gun? Were you a flyer? Tell me about that in there.
So I was actually in the service.
You were? Well, thank you for your service then.
You're very welcome. I did 6 years and going through basic. My TI, my training instructor, he used to play the Top Gun song every single morning to wake us up.
Right on.
So I kind of just, I love the movie Top Gun. I love I don't know. I just love it. I can't really explain how I love it. Went through basic, and my brothers and sisters who I was training with in basic actually started calling me Top Gun because as I was going through basic, I would hum the song.
I want to get to the meaty stuff before we get to the MMA stuff. Talk to me about being a stuntman. How did you get started in doing that? Did you just like fall out of bed on the top bunk from a double deck bed and say, oh, I survived, I can do this? Talk about that.
So growing up, I'm originally from New York.
Hey.
Being on the streets in New York, you really have to, I can't say defend yourself, but you have to know where to cut, where to go, what streets not to go on, you know, where the shortcuts are. So you would have to jump fences, jump walls, crawl underneath anything and everything you could find. So after doing that, I got into fighting, and fighting actually got me into, you know, learning how to duck, how to punch, how to kick. I know a lot of people probably know Jessica Barat. She's a really well-known stunt woman. So she took martial arts, and that's how she got into stunt work. So that's how I kind of built myself up.
What part of New York were you from?
Upstate, Kingston.
Okay, well, I'm from Jersey, but I grew up in the Catskills. My grandparents had a summer house up there, so that's when you said New York, you know, I got to ask. We all ask, right?
We come from the nicer, greener part of New York.
So when did you realize that the stunt stuff, in particular, was something that you could make a career out of?
It was more or less of somebody seeing what I could do.
Okay.
How I could do it. It wasn't really something I looked into. It wasn't something that I wanted to look into. It just kind of fell in my lap.
Let's segue into the acting now. Do you, dare I say, if you do your own stunts while you act, to talk about your acting and what projects you have going on with the acting right now?
Believe it or not, I started doing extra work as you know, in the background. My brother's done tons of movies and TV sitcoms and shows, so he's the one that actually got me into it. Well, he fell behind on it, and I said, you know what? I kind of like this. I like having the fun. I like being in the spotlight. I love it. So I continued to do my own work. I didn't get an agent. I didn't get a manager. Just like my fighting career, I do it myself. And I feel, it makes me feel better knowing that I did it myself and having somebody do the work for me.
There's that feeling of self-accomplishment.
So doing, the extra work, doing the stand-in work, believe it or not, the person that hit me up for the movie, his is the same name as mine, except his is Tony Pagliaro. So he hit me up and was like, I was doing a little research and I found your name and I want to know how you got your name and where you're from. So we started talking. And then he got hit up by a producer and he hit me up and goes, hey, you want to be in a movie? And I'm like, sure. What kind of movie is it? Well, he goes, no, you want to be the actor in the movie. And I was like, whoa, deep breath, calm down.
Yeah, really.
So it was kind of a shock. And then after that, we filmed the movie, and it was nerve-wracking. That first 2 or 3 days, having the camera right in your face, and then you having to speak and do your parts and knowing where to start, where to stop, it freaked me out.
And what was the name of that movie?
The name of the movie is called The Pandering.
Okay. Is it
It was
out?
actually filmed in Vegas.
Is it out now for people to see?
Right now the trailer is out. We have a link that you can click on to buy tickets for it. The premiere is going to be out August 15th.
People can search The Pandering on Google to find out more about it, right?
Correct, yeah.
Perfect. So let me change gears. So you grew up in upstate New York where it was a lot more green. Why you moved to Vegas? Did you just feel that for the things you wanted to accomplish, Vegas was a better opportunity for you?
I know all the viewers out there are probably going to laugh at me, and the females are probably going to say, what an idiot. So, during the service, I got out of the service and I was stationed in Utah. I went back to Utah for a girl that I met while I was in the service.
Okay.
She was actually from Vegas originally, and her kids and her ex-husband lived in Vegas. So she's like, hey, I want to be closer to the family. I want to be closer to my kids. Can we move? And me, being the not thinking about myself, because, I was in love, I loved her, and we were together in a relationship, I said, okay, why not? So I left my job, left the fighting, and I moved to Vegas. And then ever since then, it just, I don't know if it was, I can't say if it was karma, or just me pushing myself, and I have always been positive. But ever since I hit Vegas, it's just my career's been climbing.
Now, the $68,000 question is, are you still with that gal?
I am not.
Okay. Just want to clarify that for everybody, as I'm sure that's in mind right now. So, talk about MMA. When did that pop into your head as something that you wanted to add to your resume?
Growing up in New York, as you know, we have to learn to defend ourselves. We have to know how to fight, and it's all street fighting. My father at the time was like, no, I want my son to be able to protect himself. So he actually put me into karate. So I started taking karate for a little bit. I went into the service, and then during the service, I learned jiu-jitsu. So during the service also, I got stationed in Utah. I went to a gym, and the coach there, who is my best friend, and I consider him, a dad to me. We've been together forever. He noticed that I had a little bit of training. He noticed that I love doing, training. I love the sport. I love everything about it. So he comes up to me and says, hey, do you want to fight? And I looked at him and I said, I don't want to get punched in the face. So he goes, well, just think about it. So I dabbled on it, I went back and forth. And then finally I was like, you know what? Why not? You only live once. So I got up in the cage, and he looked at me and goes, all right, you ready? And I was like, yeah. I was like, who am I fighting? He goes, me. I freaked. I thought it was going to be some other person or some other teammate or, some random person. He's like, no, we're fighting me. I said, can I take that back?
Yeah, please. Usher. Oh, Usher.
Yeah, exactly. So we went to the cage. We did one round, and I hate to admit it, I did go that one round with him, but after that round, we stopped, and I broke down. I fell to the floor, I was crying, all the adrenaline rushing, everything is getting to me. But ever since that, I've fallen in love with it. We're one big family. It's a good stress relief. Mm-hmm. You can chase, and no matter where I go, there are always people who are always saying, hey, come train with us, or hey, can you train us? Or, it's just, I love the family aspect of it.
So how long have you been in the MMA arena, dare I say, environment?
Altogether, probably pretty close to about 13 years.
Okay. Now, over that time in MMA, though, rumor has it that you do a little more for MMA than just fighting in the octagon. Is that right?
I believe in always giving back what you get. So the promotion that I fight for, I'm always asking, hey, you need help? You need help setting up. You need help with the security. You need help, actually getting matches. And to me, that's giving back what they give me, and that's giving me the chance to actually fight for them, to fight in front of the fans, to do what I love to do. And so it's just, I love everything about them.
So you're really everything from A to Z in terms of training and setting up. I mean, you're engulfed yourself in the whole process of MMA.
I have, yes.
Very cool. That's a great way to surround yourself, because now you become a resource for MMA fighters in the future. You're somebody as a go-to, and like you said, now you're being asked to go train at other locations. And as someone who, just kind of got thrown into the octagon yourself 13 years ago, that's got to make you feel good that you've reached that level of prestige within the sport, yes?
It does. It feels good, but at the same time, I don't like to how can I say it? I don't like the publicity. I like to be just to myself, and if it comes my way, it comes my way. I don't like to be out there, hey, I got this, I got that, I just like to, I'm there.
I want to go back to the acting for a second, because, at my stage of my life, I'm just kind of dabbling in that stuff in front of the camera as well, besides doing emceeing and stuff. There's things going on as well. So real quickly, what is the next step for your acting career?
Honestly, whatever comes my way. I love acting. I love doing stunt work. But if something happens, it happens. Of course, I'm going to try to go out there and find acting work. But with this, like Trap said, with this whole COVID-19 crap, it kind of slowed the acting business way down. So that's why I'm going back to the MMA side, just like him, and training more and training people. And so we'll see where it goes.
What's your next step in the octagon?
I'm 39 years old, so I will be I can't compare myself to him because nobody can ever do that. But Chuck Liddell said, quote, "I will fight until my bone says I cannot fight no more."
Don't go anywhere, folks, because when we come back, I'm going to be talking with Anthony about some of headlines around the fighting world. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. You are watching Vegas Unveiled Sports Week. I'm Aaron. We'll be back right after this. Hey, welcome back to Vegas Unveiled. We are in the middle of Sports Week, and I want to thank you for joining in and staying with us. Again, my name is Aaron Phillips. I'm the voice, and I have the privilege of hosting Sports Week right here on Vegas Unveiled, only on YTA is the network, to where you can also watch it online as well as your local TV. If you got them rabbit ears, you can tune in and watch it locally. But we're out there, and we're having fun. Now, if you've been with us through this entire show, thank you for sticking with us. If you're just joining us, where you been? Trap Gambino was the opening guest with me. Hopefully he'll be able to join us. But right now I'm having a lot of fun talking with Anthony Top Gun, actor, stuntman, MMA fighter, East Coaster, you name it. We got a lot of stuff going on. So now we're just going to talk about some general stuff within the fighting world. And we're going to just have some fun conversating about it. Get his take on some things. Maybe he'll throw a question my way. Who knows? We'll figure it out as we go. Two East Coasters getting together, we'll figure things out. You know what I'm saying? Right, Top Gun. You know what I mean?
That's right. Let's talk about it.
Pro wrestling, and I want to make this segue because there's obviously a lot of MMA fighters over the years that have transitioned into professional wrestling, as well as a handful of people going the other way. But one that made a lot of news a few years ago was a female MMA fighter. I don't know how popular she was. I don't know if many people know who she was, but some gal named Ronda Rousey. I don't know. Somebody from the MMA world. Anyway, so he kind of worked people up a little bit earlier this year when she was talking about her time in WWE, having some ungrateful fans and her desire to spend time with her family instead of fighting. And these ungrateful fans wanted to see her continue in the ring. Talk to me. I mean, was she speaking the truth, or do you think she was kind of throwing a little shade out there and playing that wrestling heel persona?
As far as her talking about the ungrateful fans, I think that was her acting part. I think she was trying to get the hype. I think she was trying to get the attention. As far as the family and friends, I think that was honestly her. As you know, actors, actresses, fighters, when we're in fight camp, we don't see our family. We don't see our friends. We're focused on the fight. We're focused on the training. You know, we have to be 100% in the fight. You know, that's diet, exercise, training, going from place to place, hiking. You know, we're constantly doing something. And then when we do come home, one, we're either moody because we're not eating, or two, we're absolutely exhausted. And so I understand fully why she said, you know, that she wanted to spend time with her friends, you know, her friends, her family. A lot of people get that way, and there's just to a point to where, you know what, I've done what I wanted to do, and I want to settle down.
I want to ask you about a fight that happened here earlier this year while this COVID lockdown stuff was going on. And again, excuse me for not remembering the actual fighters, but what I took out of it, because they were fighting in an empty arena, and I believe it was at the UFC headquarters where they have the arena set up, the commentators who are normally set up right outside the ring. And I want to say, I believe it was Daniel Cormier who was a commentator on this particular bout. And he was overheard by one of the fighters in the octagon saying, well, if he did this, you know, he could win the bout, or he's got to do this because his opponent is giving a tell. And because nobody was there, the fighter was able to hear what was being said at ringside, and he heard it, he listened, and because of that, he won the fight that night. Should that kind of thing be going on, where maybe the announcer should be away from the octagon, maybe up in a press box or something? That's got to be a little little issue, in my opinion, as a true sports fan, as a commentator, that was kind of out there to be heard that a competitor took advantage of it, or is that smart fighting?
Being in the octagon, when you first walk in that cage, you're focused. And the only thing you see or hear is one, and first and foremost, is your coach. That's the person you're focused on, the person that you're listening to. You don't hear nothing. As far as, I honestly doubt that fighter heard Cormier say what he said.
Okay.
Because when you're in the cage, you don't hear anything except your coach. If you're, especially at that level, you learn to tone things out and just focus on what's going on right in front of you, and you're listening to your coach. Your coach's voice is, like everyone refers to us as sport, they become your dad, they become your father. So you look up to them, you listen to them. So I mean, in my opinion, I don't think he heard anything that's coming through this thing.
It's interesting you say where you kind of tone out the crowd, because obviously when you're walking to the octagon, yes, you're focused. I totally understand that, and I appreciate what some people would say, you're in the zone, right? I mean, that's pretty much what you're talking about. And you have those 15,000 screaming fanatics in the arena, and you're so focused. But now, is it a different mental game because the arenas are empty? Or does that even help exponentially the fighter to focus on what's actually going to happen in the octagon because there is no crowd there as a distraction, or are you just, like you said, maybe easily conditioned to blocking them out?
Having the fans there, having the crowd, it does pump you up. Having, hearing your name yelled or hearing your name screamed, come on, let's go, come on, Anthony Davis, let's get this.
Right.
That does give you more of a push, because being an athlete, and I'll go back to when I say athlete, not a fighter. Being an athlete, those things like your family and your friends, your teammates, them saying that gives you the push. It gives you that extra boost or that extra adrenaline. Having nobody there, I can see it playing a big part on the morale of a fighter, because you don't have the boost. Nobody's there really watching you. So if you're pretty much fighting for, you're fighting for a reason. You're fighting because you made it to that level. You've trained and you want to win the fight. But at the same time, to me, it wouldn't feel the same, because you're not doing it for people that love to watch.
You just touch on something which unfortunately we're not going to see for some time, and that is fans are a big part of sports. And I think it was NASCAR this past weekend that really was the first major sport that had 20,000 fans in attendance for a race. Obviously the first one having that many people. And pro baseball and football and college, and everybody talks about the same thing that you just talked about, and that's how a performance of an athlete is relying at times on that fan rah-rah and being there, that missing that, I got to imagine it's an extra obstacle, not having that extra juice of the crowd being behind you. Even though you're focused and you're ready to go, and you've got your coaches, but just that little, like when you're exhausted in the octagon and the crowd is chanting your name, having that crowd there on that fan rah-rah and being there, that missing that, I got to imagine it's an extra obstacle, not having that extra juice of the crowd being behind you. Even though you're focused and you're ready to go, and you've got your coaches, but just that little, like when you're exhausted in the octagon and the crowd is chanting your name, having that crowd there. Anyway, I digress a little bit onto, I don't want to get on any soapbox. That's not what this show's about. Just whatever sports analyst is doing. So I want to ask you this question. Doing what you've done now, if you were able and wanted to try anything else other than what you're doing right now as a stuntman, actor, or MMA fighter, it's kind of off the chart question because I'm that kind of guy. What would you like to be doing today if you were not doing what you do today as a career?
Honestly, and you're probably going to jump up and down, I'd be wanting to play for the Yankees right now.
Yes! Yes!
Growing up in New York, I played Little League, minor league, All-Star, Babe Ruth, high school, and I turned down 2 scholarships to go into the service. And if I could return back time, I think I would have taken one of those scholarships because it's guaranteed I'd either one would be, having the chance to go to pro. Like I said, I'd probably go back to playing baseball. If I could do anything right now, I'd be playing baseball.
There's something that's supposed to be going on at the Apex in Vegas on the 29th, and that is strawweights Mallory Martin and Hannah Cyphers are reportedly scheduled to face each other in August. Your thoughts on that? Do you follow the ladies at all?
Oh, yes, I do. Come on, what guy doesn't follow female fighters? My favorite of all time female fighter is probably going to be Misha Tate. I just love her personality. I love that, like me, she did it for the fans. She didn't do it for the publicity. Ronda, not talking anything bad about you, Ronda. I love you to death. Don't hit my ass. Don't beat me. Ronda was very, as they would say, power-driven. She had the belt, she earned it, she kept it, and she just had that, I'm the strong guy, I'm the guy, nobody can beat me.
The swagger.
Misha did win the belt. She lost it, but she still stayed the same person. And that's why I truly love her and I respect her. She stepped away from it. She just recently had a kid.
Right.
So as far as Mallory and Hannah, they're both excellent fighters. And I can't say one person's going to beat the other one, or it's always a chance being in there. You train your butt off, but one lucky punch, one lucky kick. But if I really had to choose somebody, I would have to say Mallory.
All right, folks, you heard it here. So when that fight happens, you can come back to this show and see who he prognosticated to win to see how good he was. Maybe he'll add prognosticator to his resume, too. Who knows? I'm glad you mentioned Ronda because that's going to be a nice little segue into what we like to call our trivia game, which we'll do after break. So I want to get our viewers primed and ready for that. Now, remember, viewers, no Googling. That's not fair. You're going to have time during a break, so try it without this. What year did Miss Ronda Rousey become the first woman inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame? That's right. What year did Ronda Rousey, the Rowdy one as she is known in WWE, what year was she inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame? The answer, when we come back right after this. Vegas Unveiled Sports Week will continue right after this.
Some people...
Welcome back to Vegas Unveiled. We are in Sports Week this week, and I have the pleasure of hosting. I am Aaron Phillips, the voice of hosting Sports Week, and today is the day where I got two UFC MMA fighters. They're going to duke it out in the octagon of our trivia game. But before I get to my combatants, Trap and Top Gun, I'm going to go by Trap and Top Gun. No more full names. They're done. Let's review what the trivia question, practice question was I gave you all before break. In what year did Ronda Rousey become the first woman inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame? If you all guessed 2018 without going to Google, you got extra points for not Googling it and getting it. 2018, which is ironic. There's a coincidence in that date, because that was the year I, too, was inducted into the Las Vegas Entertainers Hall of Fame as well. 2018 was a good year for Hall of Famers around there. That's for darn sure. And these two guys that are with me now, Trap is back, Top Gun is still with us. These guys, they're in their own Hall of Fames because of what they do and what they accomplish for themselves, like Trap, and for the community, and because of his service to Top Gun as well. All right, fellas. All right, now, I believe back in the studio, we have someone that's going to be keeping score that is recording this, and she'll let me, so don't worry about scores, rights, or whatever. Let's do it this way. I'm going to ask the question. Whoever gets it right blurts it out. No hand raising, no nothing. If there's a tie, well, I'll figure it out, unless my studio folks can tell me who may have answered first. Otherwise, we may have a lot of ties coming on for this question. All right, here's the first question. 2011, which fighter became the youngest champ in history?
John Jones.
You got it, Trap. Trap's got it. John Jones is correct. All right, Top Gun, you didn't even buzz in with that one, dude.
I'm not a big boxer, so I don't know.
That's right. But this one is going to be perfect, right up your alley if you think Top Gun, okay? Little hint there to help you out so you know he doesn't smoke you. Which UFC fighter was nicknamed Iceman?
Chuck Liddell.
You got it. Liddell is correct. Next question. First UFC fighter to hold titles in 2 divisions simultaneously is?
Conor McGregor.
Travis got it in there first. That is correct. Conor McGregor. You guys think we'll ever see Conor come back to fight again?
Yeah, definitely.
You think so? Top Gun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah? All right.
If the money's right.
Right. Money talks, doesn't it? Next question. First female fighter to hold 2 titles.
Ronda Rousey.
Incorrect.
Amanda Nunes.
Amanda Nunes is correct,
Yeah.
sir. That just happened.
I can picture it. Check the word out of my mouth, Trash.
Name the UFC fighter to go unbeaten for 3 years.
Oh, that's a tough one, man.
Time's up, gentlemen.
Undefeated for 3
Ronda
years.
Rousey.
Oh, wow.
All right. Next question. Which UFC fighter's nicknamed The Natural?
Randy Jordan.
You got it, Top Gun.
Oh,
Randy Couture.
man, why did I not think of that one? Duh, I feel stupid now.
All right, next question. Which fighter won what is considered the UFC's biggest upset?
Holly Holm.
Holly Holm, and who did she beat?
You beat Ronda Rousey.
You got it. That is correct. Who enjoyed the longest title reign in UFC?
Anderson Silva?
Anderson Silva is correct. Which Canadian fighter held titles in 2 weight classes?
That was DSP.
That is correct. George St. Pierre is correct.
Oh, yeah. Like, okay, yeah.
Which Hawaiian fighter held his title for 8 years?
It's not BJ Penn, is it?
Well, is that your final
No,
answer?
Ben again?
Yeah, that's my final answer.
J. Penn is correct.
Oh,
Or
wow,
on the track.
okay.
Which fighter is nicknamed the Bullet?
Valentino Shevchenko.
That is
I know
correct.
that because she trains in some of the places that I train in.
There you go.
And she is a bad woman.
Right on. And I'll even give you a bonus point for pronouncing her last name. Which UFC fighter has won an Olympic medal in judo?
That's obviously Ronda, right?
That is correct.
That was Ronda Rousey.
That is correct. Which fighter is nicknamed DC?
Daniel Cormier.
That is correct. Last question. Which fighter was UFC's first heavyweight title holder?
Mark the Hammer Coleman.
You got it, even including the nickname Trap. My goodness.
Yeah, because that's my buddy.
Winner of tonight's trivia contest in a TKO. Trap gets the win over Top Gun. Wow, listen, you guys were right on it.
That was fun.
You only had the one stump, but did you notice 3 of those questions had Ronda Rousey involved? What does that tell you about Ronda Rousey's impact on the fight scene?
She's the reason my wife is in the sport, so.
She's the one that inspired her to do that?
One of the big influences was Ronda Rousey.
She's done great things for MMA. In the 2 years that she's been in the WWE, there's no question she helped elevate women's wrestling in the WWE as well. So I want to thank both of you for coming on. Anthony Top Gun, stuntman, actor, MMA, former soldier. Again, thank you for your service, Top Gun, and look forward to catching up with you down the line. Trap, my buddy Trap, thank you for joining us. I know I'll continue to follow you, and I look for you and I for our project to finally take off, which I think a little bit of this may be helping us to go a long way as well. I'm Aaron Phillips, looking forward to the next episode of Sports Week right here on Vegas Unveiled. Have a good night, everybody.
Nobody